The Prime Minister says demoting Ministers Clare, Curran and Meka Whaitiri has been one of her biggest challenges in her first year in government. Jacinda Ardern and her deputy Winson gave an interview together today to mark the first anniversary of the formation of the coalition. Our political editor Jane Patterson asked them about New Zealand's relationship with Russia and China, and if there were plans for a cabinet reshuffle, and what had been the biggest test as coalition partners.
For me, the tests have actually been from a personal leadership perspective. Things like losing members of the Labour team. That's been tough because you don't work in a political environment and not get to know people, and you form relationships with the people you work alongside. But at the same time, I have a role to play in maintaining a standard within my team and within cabinet, and so having to make decisive decisions that involve the discipline of team members. That's a test. So for me, those have probably been more my lowlights rather than anything relative to the coalition.
Were there any actions you would have done differently with relation to the handling of your two ministers, given that there were, your leadership and your experience were questioned during those times?
I think actually probably every leader, when you go through those periods, faces those questions. I didn't feel like I was in a unique position because of it. But actually, there's always things that you can reflect on and say, well, I might have done X or Y differently, and to claim that you handle things perfectly 100% of the time, I think shows that you somehow think you're immune to those learnings. So I'm very openly said on, particularly Clare, that there were things that I learnt from that experience, but ultimately I stand by the outcomes and decisions in both situations.
Jane also asked Ms Ardern if the coalition government was in agreement on the relationship between New Zealand and Russia.
Yes, we are.
Is there any...
Can I just make on the difference is this. If you're a lawyer and an inquiry starts, you usually consign your decision making to when the inquiry's over. The UK started an inquiry, and on day 2 the media was screaming out, well, why don't you condemn the Russians? And the inquiry hadn't even got underway. And so the lawyer sort of think, well, hang on a minute, I want to know what the facts are here. And in a way, with respect to Turkey and Saudi Arabia right now, it's been wise for us to sit here and wait to see what the Turks have been able to glean from their investigations. We are far better informed today than we were on day 1. Well, we could have jumped in and criticised the journalists being murdered. Now we can do it from a point of view of knowledge.
Jacinda Ardern and Winston there speaking to our political editor Jane Patterson.